Hi friends, welcome back to the book world. Today I am going to narrate The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. And this is one of my favorite books because when I was depressed, this book came to my life and it's actually changed my way of thinking and the way of looking to the life. And it's also suggested many books like Alchemist and Think and Grow Rich, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, etc. When you read the title of the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, the thing might become to your mind why a monk had possessed a Ferrari, or why a person who owned the Ferrari had sold it and became a monk. And this is the theme of the story. So the story starts with an heart attack to the Julian. He is an famous lawyer in the city, and he is a very tough and hard working and willing to work 18 hours a day. And he is well known for to visit late night to the city's finest restaurants with an sexy models. But when the heart attack happens, some kind of a wake up call begins to call him. So he end of his career and disappears from his career life. After a couple of years, he visits one of his favorite Paul, Mr. John. While seeing the Julian, uh, John surprised because of his transformation, both in his physique and in calmness. So he asked, "What is the secret behind this one?" So Julian tells about when, after his heart attack, he was in search of joy, in search of purpose of life, and in search of self enlightenment or self realization. So he travels towards Himalaya at India, where he finds his teacher Yogi Raman, and he learned many the values of the life. So actually, Julian tells about with an fable of an sumo wrestler, and that story have divided into mainly four groups. So one first one is our mind is most extraordinary garden. So if we care for our mind and if we nurture it as if we have nurtured our garden, and it will blossom for behind our expectation. We must stand at the gate of our garden and light only very good information and good thoughts comes to the our mind, because negative thoughts or worry drains the mind of most of the energy. Sooner or later it will injure the soul. Here the main thing is how should be our thoughts. So we have to think only the positive thoughts, and because there is a saying, what you sow, though you reap. So we cannot expect uh, the mango by planting a neem. uh, in connect with I had read about the book called Secret the Power by Randa Brand. So in that she tells about the power of law of attraction or our thoughts. Just like when we think, it will reflect to the universe, and it will come back to us with multiple times. And recently I heard a speech from the monk named Dandapani. So according to him, our thought is like in water. If you pour water, it helps to grow both weeds and the plant. It won't differentiate between weeds or plants. It will nurture both weeds and the plant. Likewise, the energy within us, it won't differentiate between positive and negative. So it depends on us how we will utilize our energy. So whether it is for positive or negative. So later, coming back to the book, as Julian later tells, our outer world reflects the state of our inner world, because success on the outside indeed begins with success on inside. So if you want to get success, first we have to own with ourselves. And if we want to live more peaceful and meaningful life, we have to think more peaceful and you meaningful thoughts. So this is the first point, and coming to the second point, kindling our inner fire. So we should always remind the purpose of our life. So because if we don't know even where we are going, so how will we ever know when we will get there? So the inner fire can be told as a dharma. It's in a Sanskrit, means purpose of life. This dharma or purpose of life is different from person to person, and we can, so we person to person, and in the form of goal setting. And goal setting is a starting point to get us on the path of our purpose. Then we have to take the complete control on our life. Then we have to decide once and for all to be master of our life or faith. And we have to run our own life. And the third point is the art of self leadership. So, one of the important factors for self leadership is a Kaizen. Kaizen means a continual and a small improvement day by day or stage by stage in our life. So, there will be always a scope for improvement, that self improvement. Indeed, it will contribute our self enlightenment. Secondly, courage. It allows us to run our own life, because it always reminds us we should not race against others. We should race against ourselves. And because once we got the courage, we knew we want to do, because we knew it is a right thing. And one of the best quote in this book related to leadership is happiness comes from the through the good judgment, and good judgment comes through the experience, and experience comes through the bad judgment. So another important thing in self leadership is self talk. It's like a, what we think about ourselves all the day, or what we talk about ourselves all the day. It's like kind of perspective, what we have perspective about ourselves, that will be the most important for self leadership. And the fourth one is the power of a discipline. It is a willpower allows us to hold our tongue when a less actualized persons insult us or does something we disagree with, because it is very important for a person who has created a life rich with a passion. Also, it reminds us we should not don't race against others, race against yourself. So these are some of the 4 points I have collected from the monk who sold his Ferrari, and some of the other points which I liked in this book is are when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all of your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction, and you will find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents becomes alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person than you ever dreamed yourself to be. And the other one which I like most is uh, the things happen twice. first in mind, then in reality. And the other one is whenever a negative slides come up on the screen, take a shift action to replace it with a positive one. And the third one is weak minds lead to a weak actions. So even you can find many beautiful quotes from this book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. So once you read this book, so you might come to know what kind of books we have to read. And even Robin Sharma has a series of numbers of book like Desire, Discovery or Destiny, Secret Letters, and 5 p.m. Club, and Who Will Die When You Who Will Cry When You Die. So this book is an first step in my life uh, to change my thoughts. So if you like this video, Raghu, then use me. Thank you.